The way you structure your training session makes all the difference in the world. Worldwide, there's 4 different types of ways that people use robot training. I'm going to work you through all 4 different types, and I think you're going to agree with me that type 4 is by far the absolute best to train with the table tennis robot. So type 1 is working through different drills. Forehand warm up, backhand warm up, forehand push, forehand block, backhand block, maybe a little bit of footwork, backhand, middle, backhand, forehand, maybe some game situation drills. And you do each drill during a 2-hour session. You do each drill for maybe 3 minutes. 3 minutes of this, 3 minutes of this, 3 minutes of this, and 3 minutes of that. It's a good way to kind of brush up or tune up all your different skills, but nothing in your game has made significant progress. Type 2 is spending the whole 2 hours on one particular skill. Let's say, for example, forehand loop against backspin. And I do that for 3 minutes, take a 2-minute rest, do it for 3 minutes, take a 2-minute rest, and I focus on just one aspect of my game. I feel like I can make significant progress on that one thing, but the question is that one thing, isolating that, going to carry over to match play? Maybe, maybe not. Type 3, this is actually pretty good. It's progressive training. So you'll start with one skill like forehand loop against backspin. And then next you'll go to forehand loop against backspin and then forehand loop against topspin. And then maybe you'll add some footwork after that. Then you go to forehand loop against backspin, forehand loop against topspin, and then do some footwork following that up. So it's progressive. It starts with one skill and then builds from there. Type 3 is what a lot of people are doing and making good progress using type 3. Type 4 is quite different. And I personally believe type 4 is the best. Table tennis players don't use this method too much, but a lot of other performers, like musicians and other skilled people out there, use type 4 method. It's outlined in the book, The Talent Code. So if you read the book, The Talent Code, you'll know what I'm talking about. So type 4, throughout this session, you're basically increasing and decreasing the difficulty level. See, if you're going to make maximum progress, you need to push the limits much tougher than you would in an actual game. Things break down, and what do? You go back to the basics and you simplify it. You get the basics good, and then again, you challenge yourself. See, if match play is here, most people train at about same intensity as a match or a little bit under. With this method, if match play is here, you want to train here, but you reach a breaking point. So what do? You make it more simplistic, then you build back up, and you're constantly going up and down throughout the session as far as difficulty level. Why is this important? Because you're constantly being challenged. You're constantly being able to push the limits, and it keeps your mind actively engaged as far as, how am I doing? How can I adjust my technique? How can I adjust the drill to challenge me? So instead of just going through a systematic routine, it actually challenges you more. So let me give you an example. Let's say we have the same theme. We're going to do the same theme just for simplicity's sake. Forehand loop against backspin. Okay, so we'll start off with forehand loop against backspin, and we'll get the repetition again and again and again until we work through whatever it is we're working through. Finding better positioning, or engaging the core more, or being able to accelerate and generate more spin, or being able to target where we're going to. Whatever main theme it is for forehand loop, we're going to start with that one. Second stage is we're gonna jump up pretty big. We're going to do push, forehand loop against backspin, footwork, and then finish with a smash. So this is just as challenging, or potentially more challenging, than what you would encounter in a game. We'll see how it holds up. If one of the elements in your system kind of breaks down, what do? You isolate that element, you get it good, and then you go back. So let's say, for example, forehand loop, let's say it's too difficult and you started messing up on your forehand loop. What are you going to do? Let's go back and practice the basic, just forehand loop again. Then what do? We're going to implement push and then forehand loop, push and then forehand loop. Once we get that down, what are we going to do? We're going to add more elements to it to see if we can get it back to being able to combine everything together. You're working on combining everything together. Maybe the forehand loop breaks down a little bit, so we go back and we isolate that. Maybe the forehand push is off, so we go back and isolate that. Maybe your smash is off because you're not finding good positioning. We go back and isolate that. So it's this system back and forth as far as increasing the difficulty level, making it faster, making it more random, combining more shots together, and then something breaks down, we make it more simplistic. Then pushing it, then making it more simplistic. So instead of just going through your list of 4, 5, 6, 7 drills and just going through like your little checklist for the day, kind of like cookie cutter coaching, what you're actually doing is personalizing it for yourself. In match play, you don't have this luxury because in match play, if your forehand push or backhand loop or forehand counter loop is off, you can't just say, "Attention everyone, let's stop the tournament so I can just focus on my backhand loop." You can't do that, right? You can't just stop everything. So you have to be able to work through it in the moment. But during a training session, you have that luxury as far as being able to combine everything, pushing the limits just as hard or harder than a game. But at the same time, if something's breaking down, we go back and we isolate that. So 3 types. The first is whipping through tons of drills. That's not bad. We're just kind of warming up each aspect. The second type is isolating just one, and that's good, especially when you're learning something new, but doesn't have as much carryover to match play. The third type is progressive, that you start easy, and then you go more game-like, more game-like, more game-like, more game-like, and throughout the session, you get more difficult, more challenging. And the fourth type that I actually recommend is you start by isolating one thing. Then you jump up and make it extremely challenging, and then you isolate whatever aspect of that drill was giving you problems. You get that down, and then you go back and again make it more challenging. Like I said, these ideas somewhat are coming from me, but a lot of them are coming from the book The Talent Code. So I'd recommend reading it. If you read it, you're really going to understand what I'm talking about. Time management is important. Time efficiency is important. And we want you to make the most progress possible. So make sure that you're using all the drills on the PowerPong Omega. Make sure you're creating drills on your own. Make sure you download our brand new free training programs for the PowerPong Omega. And make sure it's not just whipping through a bunch of drills, but it's actually personalizing these drills based on your needs. I'm Samson Dabina. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'll see you soon.